There is a small green bottle of olive oil on my kitchen counter. It has been there for 32 years. I do not mean the same bottle. I mean the same spot on the counter. The bottle gets refilled every 2 months. It has stood next to my stove, 2 inches from the corner, since October of 1993. I'm 88 years old. I live alone in the house my husband and I bought in 1971. He has been gone for 19 years. I've not slept on a hospital pillow in 39 years. My doctor told me last winter that he has stopped expecting bad news from me at our annual visits, which he says he has never said to another patient in his career. Every night before I go to bed, I take 1 tablespoon of olive oil from that bottle. I swallow it slowly. I follow it with a small pinch of sea salt on my tongue. Then I rinse the spoon and put it in the rack. Then I turn off the kitchen light and walk down the hall to my bedroom. I have done this every night since October of 1993. I want to tell you who taught me, why I started, and what happened to the women in my life who never learned this. The woman who taught me was named Despina. Despina worked for my mother-in-law as a housekeeper for 16 years. She was Greek. She had come to this country in 1949 from a village outside Thessaloniki after the war. She did not learn English well, ever. She and my mother-in-law spoke to each other in a mixture of Greek words and hand gestures and small drawings on the back of envelopes. I met Despina the first Christmas after I married my husband. She was 62 years old. She moved like a woman of 40. She had a back so straight you could have rested a book on it. She had buried 2 husbands and 4 siblings. She walked everywhere because she did not own a car. She lived with her sister in an apartment above a butcher shop. She was, by every measure my eyes could see, the most physically unbroken old person I had ever met. I was 32 and just beginning to understand that women in my own family did not last well. My grandmother was already in a nursing home. My aunt had died at 68 in a wheelchair of complications from a fall. My own mother was beginning to forget the names of her grandchildren. I looked at Despina that Christmas and I understood, in a way that I had no words for at the time, that something different was being done in her life, something I needed to find out. It took me 20 years to ask her. She was 82 when I finally got up the nerve. We were sitting together on my mother-in-law's porch in October of 1993. My mother-in-law had died 2 years earlier, and Despina was visiting because she had nowhere else to go that Sunday. I asked her in slow English what one thing she had done her whole life that she thought had kept her well. She did not hesitate. She mimed a spoon, then mimed pouring, then said the only Greek word I ever fully learned, eleolato, olive oil. She told me in the broken English of 50 years that her mother had given her a spoonful every night of her life from the time she was old enough to walk. She had never stopped, not during the war. Not when the family had nothing else to eat. Not when she came to America and had to walk to 3 different shops to find olive oil that tasted right. Every night, 1 spoon, with a few grains of salt. Why salt? I asked. She shrugged. She said, "Mother said, so I do." That was the entirety of the explanation. I went home that night. I poured myself a tablespoon of the cheapest olive oil I had in the house. I added a pinch of salt. I swallowed it. It was disgusting. I did it again the next night, and the next. Within a month, I had bought a better bottle of oil, and the taste had changed entirely. Within 6 months, I'd stopped tasting it as a thing I was forcing myself to do. It had become the small green bottle by the stove. It had become the last thing I did in the kitchen before bed. It had become mine. That was 32 years ago. I have not had a major illness since. I have not been hospitalized. I have had 2 minor falls and 0 broken bones. My cholesterol numbers have not changed since my 50s. My memory, my doctor says, is better than most of his patients in their 70s. I am not telling you that olive oil is a miracle. I am telling you that whatever Despina was doing for her body for 82 years was working. And whatever I have been doing for my body for 32 years has worked. I have a sister named Bernadette. She is 84. She lives in a memory care facility in the town we grew up in. She did not believe me about the olive oil. She used to laugh about it at family dinners. She would say, "If a spoonful of oil keeps you young, what does that make me butter?" I never pushed her. Bernadette was always going to do what Bernadette wanted to do. She drank a glass of red wine every night instead. She said she had read it was good for the heart. I do not blame the wine. I am not a doctor. I am 88 years old, and my younger sister no longer recognizes me when I visit her, and I do not know exactly why our lives diverged so completely. Maybe it was the oil. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was 100 small things, of which 1 spoon was just one. I will tell you only that I believe Despina and Bernadette did not, and we are where we are. There is one more thing I want to tell you about Despina. She lived to be 96. She died in her own bed in her sister's apartment above the butcher's shop. She had walked to the market that morning. The doctor told her sister it had been a quiet, painless death. Her sister found her with a small green bottle of olive oil on the nightstand beside the bed. I have one of those bottles on my own counter. I am going to use it tonight, the way I have used it every night for 32 years. And tomorrow, if I am lucky, and if I do my part, I will use it again. If you take anything from what I have told you, take this. Find a small thing, something concrete, something you can hold in your hand and put in your mouth and do every single night of your life. It does not have to be olive oil. It only has to be yours, and it only has to be every night for the rest of your life. That is what I learned from Despina. That is what kept me out of a nursing home. That is what is keeping me tonight in my own kitchen, with my own bottle, with my own spoon. I'll see you in the next one.